let's be honest, Need for Speed Underground 2 is a classic, right? Or is it? I mean, is it really as good as we remember? Or are we just stuck in a nostalgia trap? Think about it, a 2004 street racing game that we're still talking about 2 decades later. Did it actually earn its spot in the Racing Game Hall of Fame? Or have we just romanticized it to death? Let's find out. Okay, so here's the deal. Underground 2 wasn't just a rehash of the first game, it was a leap. They gave us new race types like Street X and the Underground Racing League, and the open world, at the time, it felt huge. Bayview became your playground, a city full of hidden shops, secret upgrades, and a ton of customization options that blew our collective minds back then. But here's where Underground 2 got it right, progression. In today's racing games, you're in a supercar before you've even gotten out of the tutorial. Underground 2, no chance. It made you work for it. Every time you found a hidden shop or won a race, you unlocked something new. Slowly but surely, your car became a beast. Every little reward felt earned, like discovering gold after a long grind. You want to slap a massive wing on your Civic? Go out and win that race first to unlock the spoilers. Maybe you want some carbon fiber hoods? Well, go find that hidden body shop and you might just unlock a hidden part. And that's what made it addictive. You didn't get everything handed to you on a silver platter. You grinded, you raced, you modded, and earned your upgrades. There was a sense of accomplishment, a steady drip of dopamine that kept you coming back for just one more race. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the graphics. You'd expect a game from 2004 to look, well, old, but here's the crazy part. Underground 2 still looks good. The art style, the lighting, the cars, it's aged like fine wine in my opinion. It's not trying to be hyper-realistic, and that's why it holds up. You don't look at it and think, wow, this game is ancient. You think, damn, this should look good. And then there's the speed. The sense of speed in Underground 2, it's unreal. Hit 200 kilometers per hour, and you feel like you're barely in control. Add some nitrous, and suddenly you're blasting through the streets like you're in a scene from the Fast and the Furious. But here's the key. They didn't need to throw 7 trillion special effects in your face to get that feeling. It's pure, it's simple, and it hits that sweet spot without overloading your brain with flashing lights and explosions like most modern games do, where they try and give you those cheap dopamine hits with 7 billion effects flashing into your face, and you just don't know where to look, and you just want to start crying, and you just don't know. Now, customization. This is where Underground 2 still shines compared to modern Need for Speed titles. And the reason I say that is because you didn't have car-specific parts like we see now. No, every car had an access to pretty much the same range of upgrades, and that actually gave you more freedom, in my opinion. You could get wild with your combinations, making every car feel unique. People complain now that it hasn't aged well, but let's be honest, half the fun was making an absolute abomination of a car just because you could. I loved making race rockets. I mean, just look at this piece of shit. It's beautiful. Now, it's not all perfect. The open world, sure, it was mind-blowing back then, but let's face it, by today's standards, it can feel a bit tedious. A fast travel option would have saved a ton of time, and the URL races, man, those dragged on. By the time you hit stage 5, just seeing a URL race pop up on your map made you sick to your stomach. Like, they could have thrown in a bit more track variety for the URL races, or just, I don't know, spiced it up a little, but man, by the end, you really hate those kind of races, just because of the repetitiveness. And in my opinion, the final stretch of the game, it kind of overstays its welcome. Without a strong narrative to push you forward, those last few hours just felt hollow. The cutscenes weren't really helping either. Let's just say Underground 2's cutscenes didn't age quite as well as Underground 1. And what do I mean by that? Well, take a look at this.
For whatever it takes! What part of that didn't sink in?
Get out of my face! I raced straight up.
You better remember who you're talking to.
Or what? I don't need you.
Oh, really? What are you gonna do without me? You're nothing. It's only a matter of time before I run the whole show.
Then maybe I'll make sure you don't.
And of course, we can't forget about the rubber banding AI. It wasn't as bad as Underground 1, but when you're in those outrun races, it's like the game is just cheating. It's frustrating, especially when you're dominating, only for an AI car to suddenly catch up like it's strapped to a rocket. And hey, can we just talk about the villain for a second? What's his name? Andrew Tate or something like that? Oh no, Caleb. This dude is all swagger and no substance. That final race, it just kind of happens. You know, there's no build-up, no final showdown. Rachel doesn't call you and give you a pep talk. You're just tossed into it like, oh hey, by the way, here's the last race of the game. Good luck. Even the description of the race when you roll up to it changes every time you reload the race. It's just like a generic antagonistic piece of dialogue, but whatever. But before we get too harsh on it, let's remember, it's just a racing game from 2004. We weren't exactly expecting a Red Dead Redemption level of storytelling here. A bit more narrative would have been nice, sure, but Underground 2 knew what it was. A game about cars, speed, and street racing. It really didn't need to be anything else. So is Need for Speed Underground 2 overrated? No, I don't think so. It's still one of the best racing games ever made. For a game that dropped 2 decades ago, it holds up remarkably well. Yeah, it has some flaws, but so do most classics. The sense of speed, the customization, and that early 2000s vibe, you just simply can't replicate that today. So if you haven't played this game in a while or have never tried it, fire it up. Revisit Bayview or visit it for the first time, customize that race rocket abomination of a car, and hit the NOS. Trust me, it still feels just as good as it did in 2004. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoy that early 2000s nostalgia, and follow me on Twitter to get all the updates of what I'm doing during the day, because I know you really want to know. Well, anyway, see you in the next race.